Hello, hello, hello. Just got to get set up here. So we have our first round today. First round presentations. Finding what else to cover. I suppose I'll just screen share for a moment. And before anybody dare tells me my screen sharing is now enabled. Yeah, feels good. All right, so we are today 12/7. Big things to note are I want to get everybody to sign up for the Coding with Donuts today. So by the end of the day, I can, take tomorrow to plan accordingly. I want to know how many people so we can plan out like how long it's going to be and this sort of thing. And then I can get going with the rest of the planning. Your links for the project, I need you guys to have on this linked page here. So it looks like we got 3 people so far. Oh, no. A few more. Ooh, that one's hard to read. Dark blue. So, we're just going to be going down through, I suppose. Well, I do have I suppose we did make an order. We'll go along with the official order. Kind of brain farting. Here we go. And I didn't get to printing off a tracker sheet for myself, so bear with me a second. Just keep this down for simplicity's sake. Shub is not going to present today. I never thought to check in with him. I honestly forget these things. It's like 4 a.m. I think he said where he's at, and I don't know. He just burnt out and he hasn't been feeling well. So, excuse me, I just ate. So he's going to either present on Wednesday, or I told him, depending on things, if he prefers, he might just send me a screen recording of this, so that he doesn't have to be up, all night. So we'll skip over him. everybody else. All right, so we should have plenty of time. I split these classes up so that it's not as hectic, kind of going back and forth. I don't know if we did anything like that this semester. I think I nixed that out of our class, like allowing you guys to chat in groups and then coming together and reconvening and talking as a class all together. Didn't really do that, but either way, it ends up being a really hectic day when that is taking place. Just like, I mean, especially more for me, I suppose, but just not much breathing room. So we all should have like that allotted time that I specified, like 3 or 4 minutes. To go over this, kind of walk us through your code. The way I want to go about it is if everybody just keeps this open and, as the next person is up, we'll go to their edit link. I don't want anybody interacting with the project. Like nobody should be running this project until the presenter kind of throws it open for us. That way we can just focus. But if you did want to have like one side of your screen, the code, and then the other side, like the presenter, as they're talking about stuff, you could kind of scroll through a little bit. I just don't want you to get too distracted with like interaction stuff while they're presenting. Anything else to know with that? I was thinking something else and it's blanking. My mind is blanking. I will note this is a pretty important component here. It was brought up during my office hours, actually. Even though all of these things are online, they're shareable with a link. I also still want you all to be submitting them as a packaged project in the Google Drive as like a backfall. And this is also, I guess, for yourself down the road too. If I go down to, I put the grade sheet up as well, if you want to take a look. Not, obviously not right now. Grading, right here. So I still want you to make like a quote unquote master folder, just less stuff than it would be from semesters prior with processing. So essentially you need to have everything that you are using in your project, all the photos, all of the audio, that should be in an assets folder. And then you should have 2 text files. One of them should be your full project code, which is basically literally just an exact copy of your completed code, meaning like has all of the about stuff anyway. But then just, it's not, I guess it's kind of redundant supposedly, but your about section is more or less kind of keeping up with tradition and giving somebody like your users, anybody that stumbled on this folder, a first go-to to read if they wanted, right? Some people just look for that. And
I have a question about the about file.
yeah.
So the things in the about file are the same things that are going to be in the commented part of the code.
Yeah, I was just thinking
So
about this. You could basically just have it all in your main code project. If for some reason if you don't want it in your main coding project, you could put it in a separate about file. So yeah, I don't know why in my mind I was thinking some of that stuff would be separate. I don't know. I've went over redoing this several times, but yeah, you just need to have it in your main project. A lot of times people will forget to put something there, so I guess I just kind of defaulted to like, oh, also make sure you put it here as a backup. But so reason being is if there's an issue with the server, whatever, you can't get on there, your account got deleted, whatever the crazy thing might be, you would still have your project, and I would still have it for future reference as well for other students and so forth. And then once you have, I guess, really just two different components, right? A single text file and your assets folder. Just make sure the folder has your name and zip it, not like a rar, just a zip. And should go on the submission file just like any other project. And I believe now that is all I wanted to talk about. So yeah, and then maybe just a quick recap here for those that didn't prep too much or are nervous or something. First thing I usually prefer you guys to do is just have some kind of like overview up for us to look at. Maybe that's just hitting play. So it's like a cover page or something. Or if you have a screenshot still you want to have up or whatever. I will note too that if you're on the P5 page and you have some kind of project going and it's playing audio, but you want to speak, I don't know why I haven't covered this particularly, but the tab that you're in, you could right click on that and mute it. So I've already muted mine. You can mute the site and then it won't be obviously playing the audio. So that could be helpful when you're presenting if you wanted to only let us hear what you are speaking. And so having that up so we have something to look at. So as you're talking, it's helpful. Give us a breakdown of the project, like why you chose this, the different insights that you've had. And particularly, we should be really kind of thinking through and talking about not only your interests and how this is exciting for you, so to speak, but the other end of this is, of course, the interactions which come through people, users. So I guess some of that is also then maybe about like what you'll hope other people are going to get out of this. And then you can give us just a run through of your structure. Some people used object orientation in different ways. A lot of you might have just followed through with the scene process. Obviously, though, pretty much everything that we've covered in the exercise, most of us should pretty much be familiar with all of that. So you don't really need to go down through and be too overcritical on those components. So if you're newer to code, your project is fairly similar to that exercises that we did, then you probably won't have to really talk too much about the code. It's going to be more so on these other topics. And yeah, then just kind of recap at the end with how you are planning on finishing anything. And another big component is if you have any particular questions or advice that you're looking for, you could also list that, because that could be helpful, you know, figuring out what to do to move forward to completing these. So yeah, I think that pretty much will do us well for prepping. Anybody have questions before we get started? Oh, last thing is I'm hoping all of us will turn on our webcams, because these are eventful days. We're all supposed to be communicating with one another. I've let you guys pretty much slide the whole semester, but days where we are congregating totally should be web chat, web chatting, webcamming. Yeah. So I'll wait for a few of you guys to ruffle your bed heads, you know, get all the dust off of you.
Is that the school scene from Avatar and the Fire Nation, Anthony?
I don't know. Sometimes it's hard for me to tell who's who. Like, you're saying it's Anthony, but like when he wasn't there, it doesn't display his name or anything. It's kind of a downside to.
You can change that in settings, I believe.
Oh my God. Where? Let's everybody stop what we're doing. Figure this out. First I need Zoom on. There we go.
Meetings always display participant's name on the video.
Oh my God. On video?
Under video settings and meetings.
Video dialogue. Oh, there we go. Oh, it only took the whole semester, dudes. Wow, we're really getting ahead in life.
Yeah, and I'm gonna have a question for you. So I'm gonna probably don't have to answer it now. Do you know anything about databases?
I know they exist from time to time.
I'm screwed.
That's about the extent of them. I actually want to get into it for a project I've been thinking about. Well, I was thinking about it through grad school as like a, you know, in the back burner. And then last year, I had a DMS 110 course, and I had students present to me artists, right? And like, here, present an artist and, you know, tell us about projects they did and relating to code and so forth. And one of the students presented on an artist that did fairly similar, same concept as like this one that I've been wanting to do. And it's like, oh, damn. I was basically like, I know this is a side ramble, but it's pretty interesting relating to code and databases. Presenting like a screen in front of you, and as you move, as your body is being tracked, you have a skeletal system that's tracking your movements and logging them into, you know, particular placements of a skeletal system, right? So like, this is pose A, B, C, whatever. Like, it has this whole log, right, of positions, and then plays back to you on the screen, not yourself or your skeleton, but rather stills, which come off kind of as like a movie, right, of other people or other pre-recorded content. So as you're moving, you're seeing like other people, so to speak, move in the same ways that you're moving. So pretty cool, other than the fact that that system was all, it could be all local. If it's all pre-recorded, it could be local. The time, I guess, though, it can be quicker to off-source the computing to like a server, like a database. I've heard another artist colleague using a database in this way. And for that example, that of a concept of mine, I would want everybody experiencing the project to be logging their positions with their images of those positions into the database, so that those positions can then be recalled when other people are traversing that space. So it's fairly similar, but yeah, I know the database stuff does exist, and the one colleague that I had, she was using one and wasn't even paying for it. So I think that some of that stuff's available. It's just, I don't know where to begin, I guess. Okay, side ramble completed. Well done, everyone. Sana is up. Are you ready, Sana? Where is she? Is she here? That's step number 1. Okay, I had to expand my window here. No Sana. She is not here. We're doing good. We're doing good. All right, we're 1 down, everybody. We're 1 down. Okay, continuing onward. Julius. Is not here.
I think you're going through the wrong section.
Am I? Maybe.
I don't know those people.
Okay, thank you. Oh, that's, yeah, section 2. Man, that was going to be like, what? All right, everybody. I'm almost getting my shit together. Bear with me. My next class is prepped. I'm pretty sure Amir is not with us anymore, but I put his name down anyway. All right. So yeah, Umaya, you are up.
Okay.
So whenever you're ready, yeah, you can. I obviously won't be. I'll be muting myself and just keeping track of time. Most people should be good, but what was the one thing I was going to say? I won't be able to go through your code like I mentioned to other people while you're presenting, because I want to just screen record your presentation. And so another good thing too is you can be pretty relaxed in the event that this is kind of just like a first run, and like if you're going to be doing the coding with donuts for extra credit, you can come back and watch your recording, so you can kind of see like what you could have improved upon or whatever, right? I feel like that's
so
helpful. So
screen and like go through the code or have it play through?
What's that?
So should I like go over the coding like first or more into like the conception of the project?
Oh, maybe you missed that. I talked about that at the beginning of class here. So we have a whole section on it in the project page. So I guess in theory, everybody was supposed to prepare for this. And then there's just different steps. And ideally kind of go through them in order. doesn't really matter as long as you're kind of covering all these components. And if you forget this stuff, you could always have bullets down on the side or whatever. Clear overview of the project, right? What are the goals? Either physical, like interaction goals, or coding goals, and why, and interests, and so forth. Then go through and show us how this all works. And it's probably best to avoid nitpicking and those types of things, just presenting to us like what the completed version is going to be doing, and what's going on right now, and then kind of going over the coding structure, and then kind of summarize with like a challenge you had and what you're still trying to figure out, or this could kind of vary in a multitude of different ways, but this is just like a loose structure so you guys kind of cover all these main aspects that I'm wanting you guys to focus on. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So for my project, I wanted to do a digital version of a rainy day, and I wanted that to encompass certain aspects.
Sorry, Yumai, can you screen share it for us?
Okay. So for my project, I wanted to do a rainy day that encompasses all of the things that comes into it. And I'm going to play it here and explain it a little further. Okay, it's not playing, but I'll just explain more. So for my project, I wanted to visualize like what it would be for a rainy day, like cars driving by, the noise of rain, the footsteps are splashing into a puddle, and maybe even cars beeping. Let's see. It's not playing.
Do you want to try and just refresh the page? Oh, there you go. Even though it looks kind of slow as all. The other thing too is when you guys are presenting and doing this, it might be helpful just to close any heavy processing stuff that you have open.
Okay. Oh, could you say that again?
I was saying that it could be helpful to close any programs in the background that you don't need for class, if to avoid any like lagginess or anything like that.
Okay. But yeah, that pretty much was it right there of what I have. I'll keep it playing, but I'll mute it so it won't interrupt me talking. So my idea for this was to have it be interactive, where you can click on different components in the display. So when I click on this car, it'll move, and I was hoping to get it more interactive as to where it could kind of be like a game, but more so something you just kind of play with to hear different noises. Some problems that I ran into was not really thinking the idea through fully. And I want to like fix that a bit. Another thing is how this can be exciting for myself and others is maybe for like younger kids, this can be a game they can play to learn the sound of rain and cars and whatnot. And as far as object orientation, basically, I'd like to have the cars and all the images based on like a real rainy day. And advice I'm looking for is how I can incorporate all of the different sounds into one so they can kind of play like simultaneously. And that will.
Have you thought about using PNG files for like the car, for example, so it doesn't have the white border?
Yeah, I tried to load in a PNG file before and it gave me trouble. So that's something that I'm gonna change so it doesn't have the white background.
I don't know if this is your computer or not, but based on the speed in which that thing is going, it looks like there's a lot of objects just falling down. So one thing that you'll learn is that the more objects you have, and the longer the list is, so it has to update every single one. If you limit the number of raindrops, I'm assuming that's what it is. I'm kind of blind. It will probably go a little faster.
Okay.
Also, to reset. Try not to destroy. You might get an error.
Okay.
Do you have the sound effect running in your draw function, by the way?
I think I do. I loaded a few into the draw.
You
Well,
should
if
probably take it out of the draw function because it slows it down a lot.
Okay.
also, and something just in general, not necessarily for this project, I don't know if when people screen share, we are going to be able to hear any sound that their project has.
Okay. Let's see. And I guess another thing that I wanted to fix was the car shouldn't have stopped all the way there, but I kind of want to make it so it's kind of like passing through. So that's one thing that I want to fix to make it more interactive.
You want it to be doing what?
Oh, just to like go all the way through, not to stop at where it did.
Oh, okay.
What limits do you have set for the car?
Yeah, we added that earlier today. I was under the assumption that that's what you were aiming for. But so yeah, you could just delete that bit of code. So she's got it in her draw, which she went past, and then she's also got it as a condition in her mouse pressed.
Yeah, so I have it here listed in the draw. I have to edit it there and in the mouse pressed also. So it doesn't stop at a certain point.
Well, the condition's not there. It's just in the draw, actually.
Okay. So just the draw.
Yeah. So if you go up to where draw is and down. So there's draw starts. So lines 55 through 57, you just delete that. And then your car just disappears. Hmm? So she wants this project to be about a rainy day. What other thoughts do you guys have towards like what a rainy day might be as a interactive experience?
Maybe she can also add like an umbrella to play around with that. She can set it so whenever the umbrella is at a specific Y location, the rain could like stop pouring in that direction.
Maybe you can add a like puddles on the ground or whatever, and you click on them and it splashes.
Okay.
Usually when I think of a rainy day or as someone said thunder, I'm thinking something like a storm. So perhaps the clouds, and you can have a background, so the clouds being like part of the background, they can move above or behind certain other objects.
Okay.
So it'll probably be similar to the car code, but it'll probably require that you figure out how to do a PNG. JavaScript has been giving me trouble too. Don't worry, you're not the only one.
Okie doke. Cool. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Oh, look at that. Look at that timing. We could all do like air clapping for you with all of our mutes on. Who's next? Julian.
Hi. Let me see. So my project is an attempt to not create like a visual for the sound we hear. I mean, in this case, the music, but also for like the user to also interact with the visual, so it gives more of a personal experience rather than just one of the same visual that we see. I could play the code for it, and then so based on the beat of the music, the visual will change. And also, whenever you move your mouse, it changes the visual for it. And I also added where you could use a mic input. So that's why you could see the circles like popping up, because based on how loud it is, it will determine I guess, how big the circles are. So if I just blow on it, it will create bigger circles. And so yeah, the variables, colors, mic input. So for the music aspect, I was thinking of playing one song and then playing another song and then ending it there. But later I thought of just putting in like a couple random songs and then a couple songs and then just having it randomly play like through RNG. And then the way I was able to get the beat to match with the I guess the visual is by using the FFT, which I'm not really too knowledgeable about that, but it helps return the data of the specific type of frequency in the music that is being played. And over here, I mapped the visual with the frequency, allowing us to see that jump in visual when the beat is hit. And oh, I forgot to mention that one of the interaction is clicking. So when you press the mouse, the background changes to give like another like experience, another aspect of experience. Then you could, depending on the person and how they feel, and then these are all the shapes that make up the visual, and this is just for debugging. If the mic isn't working, we could check if it's the mic's problem or the code. And then this code I got from the reference from the p5.js library. It was just on how to create a certain type of polygon, and it may not look like it in the code, but it is made up of shapes, but it's not filled in. So that's why you get lines that look like it's layered on top of each other. And then for this function, it's window resize. So instead of just having one specific type of size on the canvas, the person could just play around with it and then have their own taste. Yeah.
Yeah, good timing.
Oh, thank you.
Before we open it up, I just want to point out that a lot of times when you're going to share this, or when you can opt to sharing it like this, you could just share full screen, and then it'll automatically scale stuff anyways.
Right. Yeah. That works.
What do you guys think?
I enjoyed the visuals of it. It's kind of like a weird kaleidoscope, which made it really cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like how it's kind of like I use like simple kind of, relatively, but it's like a simple concept that kind of you like extrapolate out and make like all these algorithms and different things and repetition and turn it into something that's really visually stimulating and always changing, but it's not like random changes. It's always like the changes that are happening are like you can always trace them to something,
right?
Even if you don't necessarily aren't able to tell what they're changing because of, you can tell it's not totally random.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I like the execution of it. It was really good. I like the song too.
Thank you.
Yeah, it seems like you did what you set out to do, which is always nice. I'm guessing that due to how things work for both JavaScript and how is it ever going to be able to be possible, that it stutters, but that's perfectly fine. Again, nice choice of music.
Thank you.
And are there any other options for visuals? I know you say you can click it, but I'm not sure if it just goes back between one and then the inverted colors.
Yeah, I'm planning on using the scroll wheel, the mouse scroll wheel. So we could change through the RGB colors. I think that's an option that I could go for.
Okay. I'm excited to see how that works. I have no idea.
Thank you.
Best of luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm not running through these, so I'm leaving it up for you guys to give your thoughts on how you think these things are playing out. So you shall, be running through the code.
Also, yeah, I noticed running through both of them, they lag like crazy on the share screen,
Oh,
but both of them ran just fine for me, like loading up the code myself and playing it for myself. Um,
oof.
so I feel like if anything, I don't think that's a processing problem or a P5 problem. I think that's just a Zoom problem. That like Zoom's fidelity isn't good enough or fast enough to be able to run at like 60 FPS. Um, so yeah, I played them on my browser and it worked just fine.
Well, do you have any questions for us? Any kind of things you can't quite figure out, or
Um, I think I think it's just ideas to make it more interactive. Like like I think Anthony gave him gave me an idea of using the scroll wheel. But
yeah?
if there's anything else, I
No,
Well,
can.
that's your idea. So give me
Oh, I
credit.
mean,
the other thought that I have is it appears as when you go in there, we're automatically experiencing this right from the get go.
all right,
So maybe there's some way that we can, translate into that interaction.
right,
Maybe, yeah, maybe it starts off, slow and very small or something, and then through some kind of initiation, it could maybe then go blow up. I'm not sure how everything's coded out, but my initial, because I'm multitasking over here, but the initial thought was I wasn't sure like what to do when we got in there.
all right,
So something like that kind of allows you to kind of work your way into the interaction, or quite literally like a splash page that gives you some kind of
okay,
info. I don't usually, with abstract stuff, I don't usually say like, oh yeah, you need to tell us exactly what we are supposed to be doing. But it's worth noting that, first time users coming in, they might not know what the heck they're doing, right?
right,
So just keeping that in your mind while you're kind of poking through this. Because my initial thing is like I start clicking, I start hitting random keys in the keyboard. Maybe that does something, right?
right.
I don't know.
Got it.
Cool. Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Air clap. Air clap. It's like the quietest golf clapping session. And I didn't go through everybody. Let me write down the rest of our section 1 names. Anthony is up next. And then we have Cole. Finish jotting these down here. Rosa and Alan. All right, Anthony, you could take it away. Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, I think I was very loud there for a second. I'm sorry. I'm having audio trouble. Yay. All right. My idea was to essentially create like it's a basic coin game. The premise of the controls are relatively simple. So that wasn't really what I was trying to go for with interactivity. What I was really aiming for was being able to play against other players, and if you can't, maybe a bot that plays for itself. Oh, well, that's dying. Um, as you'll tell pretty quickly, the gray person is the bot. He doesn't really know how to use the platforms all that well. I have to fix that. But beyond that, it's pretty good at targeting the closest coin and then trying its best to jump for it, which ends up using the platform, but only the lowest layer. For testing purposes and presentation, this thing goes on for like 2 minutes. I probably should just left it at 1 since I don't want to be on the screen the entire time. Oh, well, that doesn't matter. I can just switch over here. Yay. Oh no, I'm blind now. I can't see that small. Yeah, so the body isn't all that great for now. I think that's the easiest problem I can end up fixing. The visuals need some touching up. That's pretty quick too. I think I have a few of the assets ready to go. And the characters that you control probably use a sprite sheet. So whenever a key is active and you're moving left or right, it will use the frame count to then go through the entire sprite sheet over and over again. So it'll be relatively smooth. The biggest problem I have is multiplayer. Originally, I wanted to use Google Sheets since it can hold data values and all I ever really need. But where is it? I only ever need numbers or strings for X and Y. I don't think I put the scores here in this one. And whether or not the session is active or 0 or 1, so pretty much true or false. And since there's only ever 10 coins that reset itself, and I want every value to be the same for each player, coins X and Y will be determined. Oh, I'm muted. Am I muted?
You're good.
Okay, something died. The X and Y values for the coins are determined by player 1, who is the host. Problem is, Google Sheets says I don't have the ability to do that, or because my account or whatever. I can't host a JSON file, so this is now mute. And I've been trying my hardest to. Oh, this thing is very long. Where are you? Player lobby? No, that's JSON leftovers. My God, this is way too long, and I'm having trouble. I've been trying to use Firebase pretty much. As well, was asking about the database, since I've used it before, and yeah, JavaScript isn't as easy as I would like it to be. So if anyone has any knowledge about Firebase or has used it before, I'm all ears. This is the last thing I really want to get done. Oh, and right now there's only coins. There's I'm going to make it so that each coin has like a certain chance of having a special attribute to it. Say, collect this coin, this speed variable will go up. Collect this coin, and your falling speed goes down, max jump goes up. It's pretty much moon gravity, if you will. Each will have their own adverse side effects. Going too fast means less control. Moon gravity means you can't get down to collect coins close to the lower part of the map. And platforms work pretty well. If there's any, if there's, oh, they're still going? I think it froze from there. If there's any advice, questions, ideas, I'm all ears. I will forego eating and sleeping. That's how I code. So yeah.
Sweet. You guys get a chance to run this?
It sucks. There's another version in Java somewhere that I made to like get it out since I know Java and it works much better than this. Probably because there's no verticality. I didn't get that far in that version, but I had to start in JavaScript or else I would fail. So
I think it's funny just watching you like take the coins right as the bot is about to take the coins.
well, yeah, it's it doesn't really know how to. It can jump and it can jump high enough to get on there. Sometimes it will like that, but it doesn't know how to utilize it. It doesn't have a strategy other than go for the closest one. And my original idea was there could be certain levels for the bot, but they only accounted for being able to move across the ground, not being able to jump on platforms, which is why it's having so much trouble beating me if I were actually trying. The original one, the other version I made in Java, to get the idea as to how this can work, uh, it beats me every time. So I don't think I'll be able to get to that level again, but I'll try my best.
Yeah, I was kind of playing through it a little bit, and the most fun I was having is when I was just bullying the bot. So I
Well,
agree with that.
one of these days you'll be able to bully other people. Of course, the network connection being that is from like a certain file that has to check over and over again would probably mean multiplayer for this game. It would be equivalent to about late 90s, early 2000s Doom. Ever played Doom? You know how slow that was, how horrible it was. But dial-up internet connection. Get ready for that. Because with some of these things, the API calls for like a limited number of requests. So I have to update like 1 per second. So instead of like, I think it put it out 244 for like the max refresh rate for a screen, but probably 1 frame per second, which isn't that bad. It's not a first-person shooter. But everyone else will update around 1 frame per second, which is sad, but needed, or else they'll kick me out.
So my question is, if like I'm rooting for you, I suppose, right? But if you can't figure this out, what have you thought of any good ways to like have a like plan B to kind of just quote unquote like finalize the theme, you know?
Plan B, probably same screen multiplayer. Because right now it's using WAD keys. I can probably use left, right, and up, so people can play side by side. That'll be pretty easy since the player class is already there. Also, yeah, this is supposed to be object-oriented programming here, but there are no interfaces or anything that can actually inherit. So the player class, despite being defined, has to do it again for the computer. Because JavaScript doesn't like that. It only cares about the objects.
So I guess I have another follow up here. Could you put your screen up or the game up for us? And just hit player versus bot. So
Negative. Whoa! That's a glitch. Gotta fix that.
So
or doesn't reset.
If you were to put off trying to figure out these other conundrums for the bot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everything else is working.
Well, almost. I forgot to reset this. This is the last minute addition to scoring and the timer.
Sure. So I mean, besides that, though, everything is working. So if you guys think about that notion, if he were to just focus on the PvP aspect, what thoughts do you guys think that he could do to to as far as like feedback or improvement or visuals or theme? I think that's worth giving a few moments, seeing what you guys suggest for that.
I mean, the immersion is interesting, but the visuals themselves kind of leave a little bit to be desired. Like it's pretty.
These are placeholders. Don't worry. Again,
right, yeah.
The characters will have a sprite sheet iterated through via frame count. Oh, it finally fixed this up, I think. Nope, it doesn't reset quite there. Okay, that's fine. But yeah, the visuals will be fixed, and since this you have a donut sponsor, the coins can easily be replaced with donuts, falling donuts from the sky. Yay! Change the name, doesn't really matter. And there's a background. I've done something with a background before. I know it's probably gonna be like a last minute thing. Let's see if I can show. It's not the worst. I've done something similar backgrounds. Also for the person with the raining, London. Oh, I can't type now. That's lovely. Light rain, it goes through. I know what I'm doing, just the language, it hurts my soul.
Yeah, JavaScript sucks. I hate it.
All right, thank you, and I'm sorry for taking up for your time.
Oh no, it was good. Thank you. Python for the wing.
Oh god, I hate Python. Made me fail a class. That's why I changed my major. It's like I don't like this.
I'm very limited on my coding. I've used a lot of Macs in my undergrad and grad. Macs, Arduino, obviously processing, and some p5. That's it. That is it. Cool. Thank you, sir. And we have Cole next.
All right. See if I can share. So I've got some reference here first, but basically the project that I was doing is I wanted to recreate as best as I could this scene from Blade Runner, where he's got an image and he's kind of got it into a computer that does some sci-fi magic that like zooms and enhances it. And it kind of ends up like taking this 2D image and turning it into like a three-dimensional image or a three-dimensional space that he's like kind of moving around in this program. And he eventually gets to find like a little detail that changes the, like gives him a lead in the story if you haven't seen the movie. So that was that. And then here's the project that ended up becoming very long-winded and really extensive, but I'll play it for you guys. So you have a cursor here that gets controlled with WASD, and then if you mouse over the spot to be zoomed in, activate it, and then it zooms in, punches in into the next part, and go through. And the last slide. There's that. So the pictures I took at my parents' house, got through it. They work, but if I were to kind of revisit this and polish it up some more, I'd redo them and make it just a little smoother and less obvious, like make it seem more like it's actually going through the reflection of something rather than just me like moving around with the camera, which is what I did. Especially in this loop here, it's a little rough looking, but that's just something. The main focus that I had was getting the functionality of it down. So the basis of it is this cursor, which is locked. Yeah, the cursor here, which just listens to. Let me get rid of all that shit. the cursor listens to WASD inputs right here, and then moves around a for loop with some indexes there that creates this trail, just draws it after it. Whenever it mouses over one of these boxes, it moves the cursor around it so that it kind of recognizes the box, collides with it, and avoids it. And then each time I activate a box, it updates a scene count, which then loads in that string of pictures that moves it, like transitions it into the next scene, and also like redefines the position and the size of the next activation box. Other than that, there's a couple effects in there. There is a, if it wants to happen, a little grid that'll pop on and off for a frame. I don't know how good my connection is, if it's lagging on the Zoom call or not, but that grid will pop on and off every couple frames randomly. And the cursor will be locked and grayed out at the beginning of each scene so that the animation can go, and then it flashes back to white once you can use it. And that is about it, I think, in terms of functionality. Yeah. Oh, and I added just recently a kind of like VHS sort of noisy scan line thing that is pretty soft. So I don't know if you can see it on the Zoom call, but it's back there and it's just scanning down the screen slowly. And for that, I used in Draw a Perlin noise calculation to just kind of calculate some different, values for screen noise. And that's it.
Awesome, man.
It's better than what I was expecting when you first pitched this. I love it.
Appreciate it. I also took a page out of your book and forewent eating and sleeping to just code.
Welcome to the club. We're going to retire early. Well, yeah, results speak for themselves. I'm not even sure how to, what advice to give you. You seem to have it down packed.
Thanks.
Maybe you can help me now that you're done.
I don't know nothing about physics.
Oh, I don't need physics unless I'm predicting something. But no, I'm not in 2006 yet.
I want to leave it a couple minutes up for some feedback. I do have one quick thought, though, that you might want to try and implement and see if the effect is improved or not. So when you go to click a mirror or a location, right now you're just moving, you're basically just replacing the whole background. Are you calling that with a background or are you calling it with an image?
What do you mean? The pictures on the screen that are like updating?
Yeah.
Those are being called with, an image array for each scene that has all 4 images within the scene in it. And then this is the messiest part of the code, so forgive me. But
we're indexing
some if statements that if the count, there's a counter down here that just counts up with the frame numbers.
And then where is it being drawn?
And it then just draws it over the screen.
Well, I'm just not sure if it's actually drawing as it's drawing as an image. Okay.
Yeah, it's drawing as an image.
Not a background. So my thought is instead of zooming in, you take that image that you have in the background with transparency, just scale it
start it small and then like superimpose it over the background.
Yeah.
That could work.
And then you could even put like a white outline around it because you are using that kind of structure. So it could look, I think the effect could look a little bit more like punching in rather than walking forward.
Yeah, right.
So I thought I'd bring that up. That definitely ate more time than I thought. Anybody have a quick follow-up?
I like the what do you call it? The semester thing at the end. I don't know.
I just put that in a little bit ago.
It works.
I wanted to put something in at the end to just be like a little Easter egg. So that.
Yeah, no, that's pretty good.
Sweet, man. Yeah, I'm excited that we actually can like see the progression rather than just the the complexities of moving a cursor.
Yeah, my last ones were, I don't remember where the versions are, but I was just working with cursors and pictures of old Ferraris for the longest time.
Yeah.
So it was nice to be able to put the actual images in.
Yeah. Sweet.
Cool. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. We do keep trucking here. We're going to go with Gabriel.
Hello. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Oh, okay. All right, hold on.
Do you have your microphone or your camcorder? Camcorder. Video?
I don't have it on my computer, unfortunately.
Okay. Take it away.
Okay, hold on. Can you guys see it?
Yep.
Oh, okay, cool. So what I attempted to do was try to recreate like a solar system. And unfortunately I'm not finished it with yet, but like you can create these little asteroids to destroy the planets. That's basically it. But I can run you guys through the code. So in order to do the bullets or the asteroids, I called them bullets for my last project. I created a list, and then it like increments by one every time I create one. So if there's multiple, it won't like take the same name. For the planets, I created a class just so I can call them each with different values whenever need be. The way I make them rotate is that this value right here, angle, it counts up by one every time it's drawing, and then it goes up to 360. So yeah, it creates the ellipse in the center, which is what is very important, because if not, it'll rotate in just like crazily different ways. The asteroids are also its own class, mainly so, like I stated before, it can be created and destroyed whenever it reaches the center. These little white balls. And this function right here, it sets it so if it's greater than, the origin point is 300, 300. If it's greater than that, then it pushes it towards it. If it's less than that, it still pushes it towards it. And this star, the sun, is a totally different class than the planets, because what I was trying to implement is that if you were to destroy the sun, then all the other planets would be destroyed with it. And yeah, the mouse pressed function coincides with the asteroids. It just takes the X and Y value of your mouse, and depending on where it is, it'll drag it back to the sun's location. Yeah, unfortunately, that's about it.
A question here. When you destroy the sun, does the planets just disappear, or do they just fly in a straight line?
What I was trying to go for was that there would be an animation of it blowing up, and then it would just disappear.
Oh, right, because it's just moving in a circle based on like the math you tell it to, not a gravity simulation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the gravity was really difficult to execute.
Yeah, I can figure out why.
Yeah.
I'm wrapping my brain head around it now. I'm like, I'm giving myself a headache. It's good night. But yeah, it's pretty good. The asteroids work. I don't remember seeing a planet getting destroyed. I should probably wear my glasses.
No, yeah, that hasn't been implemented yet. Yeah.
So you're looking for a circle-to-circle collision.
Yeah. I want to make it so that the thing is that it's like moving, so I don't want it to be like still moving by the time the program knows that like an asteroid X and Y location is equal to like a planet's XY location.
The good thing about collision with certain objects that size, that it doesn't have to be at the exact same X and Y location. You just have to overlap slightly. I sent someone a link about collisions, and I could probably send you the same one.
Oh yeah, I appreciate that.
I'll find it now.
Yeah, you can just create like a general area function instead of.
Yeah, there's a Schiffman video on collision. It's pretty easy to follow. My one thought is adding some sorts of easy easy components here to kind of amplify the effect. I couldn't tell if there's audio. Obviously, you're giving the overview. Do you have audio in there then for these things, or?
No, I kind of wanted to see like how everything would look towards the end to add music, mainly because I don't know what would be like what I'd want to do. I originally had like peaceful music playing in the beginning, and then when you start destroying planets, it would be more like disastrous music.
You could also create sound effects for
Yeah.
planets being destroyed and stuff.
Yeah.
My other thought too is maybe we could have some sort of transparent overlay,
Okay.
like an image overlay that could be like gassy, like we're looking through space rather than very stark effect. Another thing too is if you do take something like that approach, you could play with image processing to have that effect itself be modifiable.
Yeah.
Based on different parameters. So just like a simple side component that might amplify it. Another thought too is there is this really interesting moment when all of them are like aligned with one another.
Yeah, like it looks like a spiral, right?
Yeah. So I'm almost wondering like if that timing, if it's like based on a specific amount of time, Because if so, then maybe like a background audio track could have something, you know, have this like shimmering effect or something when that happens.
Yeah, that emphasizes it. Yeah, that would be really cool.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then like if the planets aren't there, or you know, if they disappear, is it still there? And there's questions around that, but I'm thinking like in terms of how it stands right now, you know.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you, sir.
Thank
You could
you.
probably do that last bit based on distance. Because if you know what distance they are when they're in a line, then you can know what to check for.
Yeah. Or I can put the planets in a list, and if the list is empty, then it doesn't make that noise.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
And you could have a song track with no audio for that time, or just have a counter going and then play it based on the counter.
Yeah.
Okay. We got Thomas. I believe.
Oh yeah, the link I sent you is in the chat.
Tom, are you there?
Sorry, my bad. I just accidentally closed my project. I was reopening it.
No worries, but I did start the timer.
Sorry.
Not for your. We only have so much time.
I
So
got
it's
you.
like 8 minutes a person. You still have your amount of time to talk. It's just less of chatter afterwards. So
This should be, yeah, there we go. All right, you guys can see everything, right?
yeah.
Okay. So this is my project. Basically, I just kind of had fun with it. I basically made a meme. So I'm going to let you guys enjoy it real quick, and then I'll go through it. So it basically just does that endlessly. I want to add some more stuff into it. But for right now, what basically happens is here's all my variables I set up. Here's all my images being loaded. Over here, I have a directory of a ton of images. I had another Divido image, but I got rid of it because it was too big. A bunch of other stuff. This plays the songs. Also plays the original, like the sound effect when that starts it. What else we got? We got a canvas, and I also created a separate layer for all the balls to be on themselves, so that they don't interact with anything else. They don't cover over like the dancing dude or the dittos or whatever. So they're on their own little plane of existence, I guess you could say. So over here, there's actually a randomized background. You don't see it for very long. I actually, the original intent was for you to interact and create all the circles and shapes on the screen by pressing the mouse key. But I just felt like the random background in the background was flashing too much for me to be comfortable with, if that makes sense. So I basically just set it so instead of holding your mouse down, the shapes just randomly just generate themselves. They also generate like on a set amount of colors in this little array or list over here. So over here, I created a list of colors that the circles and shapes can turn into. Over here, I called for a randomizer for the variable color. So I could just call for color in any of these. So it's super easy to just copy and paste and make new shapes, as long as I have like the reference size that I want them to be. So I can keep going with more shapes if I really want to, but we'll see how that ends. Still got a little time before we hand it in. Over here, this just creates the canvas where these shapes are being made again. Like it just keeps recreating it basically. Over here, we have the image, which is oh my god, it loads the GIF of Steve from Blue's Clues dancing. And then below it, we have the dittos. Over here, I have some if statements. So if the dittos goes too far left or right, they start coming back on their own. Originally, I just had them where they would just like go forever in one direction. And I was like, that's kind of boring. They never come back. So I was like, how can we make them come back? So I did that. And then my personal favorite part of the project, I didn't demo it because it's extremely annoying depending on how you use it. But every time you click the mouse, if you're familiar with the MLG sound effect, the air horn, that plays. So it's pretty memey if you ask me. And that's pretty much it. Just went out there to have fun with it. You guys got any questions?
The fact that you thought about making a meme is just hilarious. I didn't even know you can use GIFs in processing.
Yeah, I just kind of was like, I saw, it was actually, what's it called? It was inspired by something over here. It was inspired by this. I saw this one day and I was like, that's hilarious and I love this. So I was like, why don't I make my own version of this for my project?
Doing God's work.
Yeah, I just want to make people smile, man.
We need it. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it was it set the precedent really early on, having Steve pop out, It just like immediately sets your expectations to be like you're about to have you're about to enjoy this experience in some fashion. I mean, even if you don't know the character, if you're that off-putting, if you're like not off-putting, but if you don't know enough, this is shared to random people. Still, like has different interactive components.
What's it called? I think for the final version, the only things I really want to change is I just want to make it so like in the full screen version, it's still a window width, because I didn't realize you could do that until like very like recently, like last night, and I was like up too late to just want to keep playing with it. So
if you change the width of the display or the canvas, you're gonna have to. Do you want everything to be in roughly the same position?
Oh yeah, no, I'm prepared to like have to like redo that all. I'm mentally prepared for it.
If you know where the positions are now and you know the canvas width, you can take the position divided by the that value for like width and height, and you can get a number which you can then multiply by the new height or display width, display height.
That sounds way easier than typing in values until I
You just create a proportional value for the positions.
Yeah, I think that's the route that I'm gonna take after class today.
So I do also have somebody for reference you could check out. I'll put you have Instagram, I assume?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll put the name. I don't want to present it to one person. Everyone in the meeting. So you could check them out. Basically, I think what would be helpful in terms of them is some of their older stuff that is based on intense repetition and bombarding the screen. So if you look at some of their older stuff, I'm just saying not super recent, takes video and overlays the video and just moves the video. And I kind of got that vibe from yours. So thinking through that, maybe there's some kind of inspiration that you could, I don't know, if not for this project going forward. So, and we got Rosa next.
Okay, I can screen share. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, so my project is essentially what it is a drawing program. I have it so that the mouse is this hand, and then when you press, it switches to being this kind of plus sign shape, and then uh, each of the buttons, rectangle buttons, does something different. So the first one changes the background color randomly. The second one changes the color of the strokes because when you draw or when you press the mouse and drag it around, it draws a line. The third one changes randomly the stroke size of the line. And then the fourth one, if you press it, music starts playing. And then the fifth one will stop that music from playing. And this last one on this row, you press it, changes the stroke color to the same color as the background. So you can have an eraser type of tool. And then this one at the bottom here, if you click on it, it downloads to your computer a PNG file of whatever it is that you drew on the screen. And then you can always click the color of the background to erase everything on the screen. And this is my code. Here I have all of the buttons. This is where I have the things being drawn, the cursor. And then this is where I have all of the things that I have the buttons being set to. That does, I don't know what else to add. Most of the things that I have are set to be random. So I have them.
Cool. Is there any follow-ups that you have or questions for us or anything like that?
Follow-ups. One thing that I was possibly thinking right now, it only plays one song, and I was thinking maybe to have multiple different ones that when you click on the button, it will multiple times, it will cycle through the different songs that could be played. I'm not entirely sure how to go about doing that, but that is one thing that I was thinking of.
Do you want it to be random selection or first, second, third every time you press it?
I'm not entirely sure. I think either would work. Since I've been going with a lot of random things, I might go with it to be random.
You're going to want an array and something that goes random between 0 and the last element in that list. And then you take the string value of whatever's in there and you load that, or rather you play that, and you stop the other one.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, everything seems to work. Sometimes a little hard to see what you're doing because the color and this pen color are almost the same. But here it's nice contrast, and I like that. You're able to reset everything. It saves. Pretty functional. You got the interactive part down. So yeah, good work. Oh, you also might want to have text to show what each button does. It may get confusing. Yeah. Oh, you'll be fine.
My other thought, I don't know. I have a couple different lines of thought here. The first thing was thinking like, well, what about maybe we can stamp shapes or something? Like we get another button that has random shapes and we can stamp it. But then I was like, well, that's not too. It seems like the project is really kind of based around being random, right? And so I'm also wondering, like, is there a way we can incorporate some kind of random thing to be happening, or the user to be able to have a random, random interaction? Maybe like keyboard presses could be doing something. I don't know. I think a lot of that though could be time. Could take up a lot of time. Anybody have any thoughts on like randomizing the experience further?
Maybe something you can do is implement a function where it draws like a random squiggle or like a squiggly line or something, and you can like build off of that. So you just never know what your like finished product is gonna be.
Yeah, and for some reason I have like that vibe in my head, especially when you said squiggle, about like patterns and such that they used to print on like, bed sheets and curtains and stuff in like the 80s, early 90s, just like solid colors with a random pattern, because the background's all one color, when you were putting squiggles and stuff over top of it. And so for some reason that I'm kind of drawing to that logic of that visual.
Like the 90s like Dixie cup thing with like white background and purple on it.
Similar like theme, I guess. Not particularly that style, but yeah, just like a solid coding and it's like repeating elements. Yeah, I don't know. Something about weird random shapes on a evenly coded background. Anyway, thank you much, Rosa. And we have one left. We should have just about enough time. Alan.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Can you see the screen?
Yep.
So my project is about a trip to the outer space. It's more like a really old game called The Mist, which you click and go to the next section. And all these things, I did it in the Unreal Engine, which is the gaming engine for Fortnite, I think. And every time you click, you go to the next stop, and all the arrow were like telling you where to click, and this for the circle, it moves with the mouse, and if you just click Ascend, you get two choices to go to the moon first or Mars. so this is the moon. I also I did this part too in the Unreal Engine. Everything in the coding is a screenshot of the gaming engine, and also if you put your mouse here, you'll see this is the I don't know how to say it. It's like the inner circle of the moon, because a lot of people say the moon is like it's empty inside. It's not like ordinary planets. So yeah, I think um, it's more like how planets will look like if conspiracy theories were true. And the next stop will be Mars. And um, um, people say that there might be life on Mars, like there used to be water and it might look like Earth. So I think picture took by NASA are fake, and they're actually like massive structure or buildings on Mars. And if you click the statue, it will like scream like it's a statue of a woman. And next we got, this is a black hole. Um, um, I did this like there's a picture of the black hole first released I think like 2 years or a year ago. And if you click here, I think if you fall into the black hole in real life, it might resets everything. So back to the starting point. That's all. And here's the coding.
I actually really enjoyed the background chat or the background dialogue that you had going on. And I get, well, so first question is like, what kind of audio did we have going on with it? Or I can't hear it and I can run it, so.
There's a theme audio, which is the main music for walk around in the house and before you go to the planets. And there's the machine on the moon. It plays like an alien kind of extraterrestrial machine sound, and there's a screaming sound. And when you choose the planets, it's like to make it, I think to make it more interactive, I put like a clicking feedback on the 2 different planets.
So when you were going through this and describing these different conspiracy theories and reasoning for why you have the different sequences, it kind of reminded me of 2001 Space Odyssey.
Oh yeah.
Where everything's very like you have that like continual existential thoughts, right? Everything's pretty morbid and you have a different perspective on things. I think it would be interesting to have like maybe just you hover over different areas with your mouse and text comes up with those different things that you're saying.
Yeah.
I don't know about the rest of you. What do you got? What does everybody else think about the project?
I think if you wanted
really
to, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I just wanted to say that I really liked your reference to the game Myst, which I've actually played a little bit of before, and I feel like the backgrounds you made really like remind me of that game and how it looked.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to say I really liked that reference, and I feel like it made a lot of sense to me.
Thank you.
I also like the different backgrounds that you used to like develop the scene.
Thank you.
Yeah, I wanted to say, if you wanted to add like a bit more to this, maybe you can turn it into a kind of like a game by like hiding objects within each background, and you have to find them. I'm not sure if that's something you're interested in though.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I don't see it as per se a game, but maybe like a I don't want to say a murder mystery, but like just a mystery in general, right?
Yes.
Because I think you mentioned X-Files, or I don't know why I thought of X-Files. You might have said it's something relating to Alien something.
If you remember like the old point and click adventures like Pajama Sam, this could be something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the only other thought I have is that, and again, I can't hear the audio, so you might have already.
Oh, sorry, I muted because it's really loud.
Oh, no, it's okay. I know that it's not going to translate through well. That's why everybody gets to run through
I'm
it.
so sorry.
No, everybody. It's just me primarily because I can't play it while I'm recording here. I guess I could probably have my laptop for the other class. Last thing I was going to say is my alarm's about to go off. Shoot, lost my train of thought. What was it talking about?
Murder mystery, point and click adventure.
Yeah,
X-Files.
X-Files stuff. I don't remember what I was going to say. That's okay. Oh, audio cues. Because I can't quite tell different things that we're supposed to click on. So it could be helpful to have, an audio jingle or obviously another image component would be perhaps the most beneficial, but audio cues could be easier time-wise. If you have the same jingle or something, just make it a little bit. Oh yeah, you have all these arrows, but I thought you said there's a couple of spots you can click on, but if you go through real quick again, like go to moon.
Oh, okay. I'm muted this time. It's actually audio.
Yeah, because there was a couple of scenes I thought where you click on a black hole, right? There's a couple different things that I thought were, yeah, maybe so it's only the black hole. I don't know why I thought there was more, but.
Yeah, I tried to make it like an Easter egg, because if you don't go to the black hole, you like go back to the moon, and it's like there's no ending to it. But I think the black hole ending is because I see it right now, I think it's like pretty weak because it's hard to understand that this is a black hole.
Yeah. So maybe just some other either text and or images or something like that on these different scenes to give us some kind of narrative. I think you should really focus on that, building completing the narrative, because that would really go well with your theme. So yeah, cool. Thanks guys for round one. Remember to sign up for the Coding with Donuts if you have not already. And we'll see you guys on Wednesday.
You still don't know anyone who knows about Firebase or databases?
Say again?
Do you know anyone who might know about a database or where I can host a JSON file that I can read and write to so that all the information is always synced?
It sounds more like a question for a computer science person.
And I changed from nature from that. That's lovely.
Well, I don't think it's necessarily an improper logic or request for you to reach out to
I know.
a professor, and it doesn't even have to be somebody that you connected with. Just tell them what department you're in. You're doing this project. You could even share them the link, right? And I would assume if you messaged a few different people, emailed, I'm sure that at least one of them is going to get back to you within a few days. So that's one route I would recommend, because they're going to probably have more experience than, and be able to potentially connect with you at some level rather than, a forum or, something like that. But in terms of time and stuff, that's why I recommend that. No, I haven't done anything with databases. To be honest, you're the first person that I've seen utilize or attempt to utilize them. So,
Well, if I wanted to make multiplayer work, I could either use a database somewhere to host a JSON file, or use a library, which I have no idea how to use, and need someone else to host that server. It's a mess.
I actually,
for an A, I need to go above and beyond. Doing this on my own is the way to go.
Well, I actually, who was it? I think, was it Cole? No, not Cole. Julian? Shoot, I should have wrote down who it was. Somebody was just showing me today, like I mentioned to them, oh, hey, by the way, there's a whole library of stuff you could do with sound on P5. And I showed them the site and they're like, oh yeah, I've been playing around with it. And they mentioned to me that you actually have to call that in your index that you're loading this library. And I didn't know that, because in the past,
I got that far. Just I'm changing data and making sure I'm receiving it correctly was the problem, and I had to figure out a way around that. So
yeah,
it's a tough time.
yeah. I mean, in the past, when I've had to do this own research of mine, it's usually just been finding sites and stuff. But in terms of the time, and it doesn't seem like it's too out of the ordinary. Like in the past, I've used, I was making my own program, so to speak, custom, and the questions are really obscure. Whereas this doesn't seem like that obscure, at least to start with. That's why I say maybe somebody with the know-how could actually, give you some points.
I've used Firebase before years ago in high school, so why can't I get this to work? But
yeah,
I'll try.
Everything updates and changes,
Yeah, I think it broke when I went back into it for reference. Wow.
Nice.
Okay,
Nice.
I'll leave you to your class. They're flooding in. Take care.
Yeah. Take care. Hello. Welcome. Have a few quick things to cover, and then we can start diving in today. So, again, here is our order of presenters for today. And I just want to quickly recap what you should be covering in case anybody is frazzled. I'll be keeping track of time just so that we can get through everybody today. And so I'll, upholding you to that like 4-minute limit. And then we'll be discussing stuff for like, we have like 5 minutes of open discussion or so, being able to look at the code, check things out, ask questions, go, answer questions, and on to the next person. So the first thing I should note is when you do go to present, you can right click on your tab that your code is in, and you can mute the site. That's probably the more preferable way to go over it in terms of just presenting, because the audio is going to be going over the microphone, not through the computer. So it'll be up to all of us, the viewers, everybody but me actually. You'll be able to go in and walk through the code yourself. Once the presenter is complete with their talk. So please honor that request and your peers through, holding off on that until they're ready. I do want everybody to have webcams on. I've let that pretty much slack for the semester, but today is a community day, so we should all be on and be attentive. When you do present, it's usually better to just have it up and playing so we have a visual to look at in terms of giving us a clear overview. I will note that by overview, I'm looking for more than just like a few words or a sentence. Kind of like, why are you doing this? Like give us all a little bit of a in-depth cue. Like, was this an exploration for the code? Was this an exploration of visuals or audio, or you really were focusing on user experience? Like, what prompted all of this, right? That's what I mean by overview. Just so that we have a little bit more of a context as we go into like what your project has turned out to be. Then we should get an overview from you. And granted, you might have to mention audio cues and that sort of thing so that we have a grasp for what you're talking about, if it's related to audio. Go over the coding structure. Again, we all should have the basic premise of coding that we've done in, like the couple exercises or tutorials. So you don't really have to cover that in depth if it's more of your first attempt at coding, right? Because we all should have a pretty much base idea on how it would be laid out. But if you have other things that you've discovered, stumbled upon, utilized, those are the things that we should be discussing how we built them in. And then what else? Basically a follow-up, letting us know what else you hope to still finalize, and any pertinent questions that you want to be asking us. you know, if you're really interested in how people are thinking about a particular element, or you're concerned something isn't, you know, owning up to what you hoped it would be. And so we can try to give you thoughts on that area. Last things. So everybody should, probably should have said this first. Everybody should have your links on this project 4 page. So it's going to end up being decently lengthy. But I guess the whole point here is that, you know, we have them all in one spot. And you should just have this tab open so that when we're on to the next person, we can go down through and open their link. If you want to open their full screen, that's fine. Otherwise, probably better to have the edit just so you can actually take a look at the code. But as a viewer, you have the choice. You don't necessarily need to be looking at the code if you want to just get the experience of the interactions. So yeah, totally need that there if you're presenting today. I personally won't be able to, I'm not going to stress out about it today. For Wednesday, I don't know why I didn't think of this before, have my laptop open and running so that I can follow along on that. But so I won't hear anything necessarily, and I won't be able to go through the interaction. So I'm going to leave a lot of the discussion stuff up to you guys in terms of asking questions, giving feedback, that sort of thing. So any questions for today? Okay, no questions. And last thing to note is that you should be signing up for the Coding with Donuts by today so that I can move into finalizing plans tomorrow and have a better idea of how everything is going to go. So please sign up for that. And again, whether you're new to coding or you've got experience, still worth presenting. There's still extra credit, and you know, maybe there'll be people there from the community that might have more comments, feedback, that sort of thing. And what's really great about these is that no matter what your project is, if somebody has an interest in it, they can simply share your code, right? Because it's online. So with all that, I think we're ready to start up. We're going to go on with Sana and then Julius. Julius, right? Hold on. No. I don't know about you guys, but Zoom is quite annoying. You guys feel that way yet?
Yes.
Okay, I just was making sure that we're on the same boat. Yeah, Julius, Michael, John, was okay. Okay, so whenever you're ready, Sana, you can take it away.
I sent you an email today about my project. I wasn't able to finish on time, and I really don't have, like, I have something, but it's not really like worth presenting. It's like kind of borderline embarrassing, so I kind of don't want to show it. So yeah.
Okay, so you want to opt out then, or?
No, not entirely. Like, if it's okay, I would like to like present on Wednesday, if that's okay. If like there's time allowed during that time, but
yeah, if anybody wants to switch with you, we might have, what other person's here? Yeah, if everybody's presenting today except you, potentially, right? Like, we'll have enough time. Yeah, unless
Thank
someone
you.
wants to switch, but I think everybody's probably planning for Wednesday. Who's on Wednesday? Okay, Julius.
How's it going, everybody? Let me just share my screen real quick.
We're doing all right. We're hanging in there.
It's good to hear. All right, you guys can see my screen? Okay, so basically, what I wanted for this project was to create like some sort of interactive tool for the user to experience. I felt like it was like way more interesting to do something that the user can like create their own thing, and it makes it like kind of more unique to them besides just like a linear pathway. So what I was first going for was being able to manipulate shapes into a sequence to create like different sounds in any way that the user wanted. But after going over like all the specifics of what that would entail to code, I decided that going with the interactive internet piano where you can change the sound, transpose it and play it on your keyboard was just as interesting and kind of cool. This is just like a basic, this is like right now, this is kind of like the skeleton for the project. I want to add like some more audio visual aspects of it where the image is kind of more reacting to what the user's playing. So it's kind of more artistic. But basically, here, I can turn my speakers on so you guys can hear it. Let me do that. All right, so basically, the project is a piano, and you have the option to play, well, default, it's C, D, E, F, G, A, B. You can play it right here. Oh, wait. And then you can transpose the notes. So potentially you can play in any scale, any key you want, or any combination of like whatever it is that works together. And then you could add on a synth. You can take out the piano if you want. And also you could play a beat in the background to like jam out to. Hold up, turn it down a little bit. Change the song, change the beat. And they all loop too. So like you don't have to worry about running out of beat space. Just jam on basically. You just pause it. It takes you back to the beginning. So like you can play down, one of the hardest parts to code, honestly, in the beginning was trying to figure out how I could get each sound to play independent of each other and allowing multiple key presses at the same time. Like, I don't know why that was so hard in the beginning, but I'll get down to how I coded it in a second. So I basically started off just defining the global variables, everything like that. Preloading all of my images, which I actually did the background for all of these in Photoshop, and preloading the sound files, which each sound file on the keyboard is actually just a MP3 file that I just took out of Ableton. I just took like a C note, D note, E note, and just kind of like binded it to the keys. I think this would be really helpful for a lot of people to know. There's actually a way to incorporate like libraries from P5. If you go and look up like the exact P5 library script, and then see like for P5 sound, I was able to incorporate reverb, which is, you guys hear that? Like it makes the cutoff like way more smoother. But if you go to index, all I did was had to just drop this right here in there, and I get all these other commands, and like I can basically do a lot of other things. So yeah, this is the reverb section right here. Thanks to p5.sound. Oh yeah, so the sliders and the transposing is basically just adjusting the rate of all of the sounds. It's not really transposing the pitch, it's just making the sound frequency, like the sample rate faster, which is making the sound higher pitch. and adjusting the volume of each one so you can like mix them together and mix them not. It's not really like adding more sounds. It's just like making one louder, making one quieter, but it can make this cool like synthesized sound, whatever you want it to be. Yeah, I mean, other than that, it's pretty straightforward. This is the hardest part for me to code, right down here in the beginning, because I had to find a way where I could hold down a key, and then while that is making something true, I had to allow, because like if you made binding something to one key press, you wouldn't be able to press any other keys because it would be interpreting multiple key presses at the same time. So you had to figure out a way to create a Boolean true and false when a key was pressed so that many things can be true at the same time. And the way I figured out how to do that was just have everything run through one key pressed, bringing it to true if the button is pressed for the sound and the note diameter getting smaller, as well as when it's released, it just switches it to false. So it's like a true or false, and it can have like kind of like not all congested in the same path, I guess. But the notes right here, the diameter is changing based on when you play a note. So it kind of like allows you to recognize you're playing a note. And later I'm trying to do something more with the color, allow like the colors to change kind of to like maybe how often you press it or when you press it. Just a lot more, like this is just, like I said, it's just a skeleton. I want to develop more visual aspects to it, but.
Cool. Yeah, and I wasn't focusing on time. We're a bit over, so that's a good way to end it. What do you guys think about this?
I definitely enjoy like this sort of thing, and I think it's definitely cool, like with the beats and how like the background is and all changes and all that sort of stuff, like with the different buttons changing, like the color and backgrounds. And I think definitely like the idea of changing colors with every like keyboard press would definitely be a good addition to this and good way
Thanks,
to move
man.
forward.
I was actually looking into like trying to have like you know, like you ever seen like an audio visualizer before, like in Windows Movie Maker or something like that? I want to have that kind of in the background. I feel
like the zigzags going
something
all
like
over the
that.
place.
Yeah, that would look awesome.
Yeah, I like the diameter of the circle like getting smaller. I think that's like a good like satisfying like visual representation of like the sound kind of like fading away. So I like that aspect of it. It's cool.
Thank you.
I have a quick question. So like, for instance, when you were doing the stuff with the reverb, where like when you switch between like the beats from house to trap to slow jam, was that being affected?
So it's only the notes being affected by the reverb. Here, I'll go to the reverb section. So basically I just pretty much sent every single the piano notes and the synth notes, not the beats, through the reverb process. So only notes that you're playing are going to be affected by the reverb. So
I gotcha. And like just to follow up on that, so like did the reverb stick even though you transpose them?
yeah, actually it works like pretty good just throughout anything you do. Like even if you pause it, you're still going to hear the reverb coming through. So it's just like the only reason I added it was because when it went from a play to a stop, it was just like extremely jarring and not musical at all. So I wanted to have some sort of like release on it or like resonance following the fact of releasing the button, and I thought reverb was a good way to add that in.
A slower decay, sort of.
Yeah, exactly.
One more suggestion that I just thought of as well. So that third slider you have at the bottom is for transposing, correct?
Yep.
So maybe like have something to indicate like what that note is, like what note you're trying to like highlight with that reverb slider.
Yeah, I was thinking about doing something like that. it's just gonna be hard. I'm gonna have to do like a lot of like science and stuff like that because it's not like transposing transposing the rate has to do with like frequencies and getting it to be an exact like transposed up one semitone would be like up like 0.2 0.47 or something like that.
12th root of 2, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. So I would have to bust out my calculator for that. I might though. That sounds like a really good idea.
Yeah.
Cool. That's our time for you, Julius. Thank you very much. Get all
You guys.
silent clap over video. Sweet. Okay, and then we got Michael is up next.
Hi, everyone. Let me just share my screen real quick. Sorry, I just got a new computer, so I have to change my system preferences to let me share my screen because Zoom's not letting me.
Classic.
It says that I have to quit and reopen Zoom to be able to share my screen. Is that all right?
We'll see you back in a few.
Okay.
Maybe while he's on his quest for greatness, we'll have John fill in the void. Maybe not.
Sorry about that. I had no idea it was going to do that.
Oh no, and that was quick too. I was thinking we'd go with somebody else, but somebody else isn't here.
Can you see my screen?
Yo, yeah.
All right. So there it is. So for this project, I just wanted to create something that was kind of simple, fun, and interactive for the user. So I started off with a larger idea and then kind of just made it more realistic and narrowed it down to just creating a simple soundboard with 25 buttons that each plays a different sound effect. And I haven't finished it yet. This is mostly just like the skeleton of the project, but I want to include different icons for each of the sound effects. I want to put background music too. So when nothing's playing, there's just background music on the interface, which is always very nice. And I wanted to have background changes for when each effect is played. So I don't know if you want me to go through some of the effects. I don't know if you could hear them, but they're just very simple sound effects. The coding aspect of it was very simple to put together. I just loaded in all of the different sound effects to variables and set up all of the buttons as circles and just set up all the circles here, created the canvas in the background, have the text right there. This displays all the circles on the canvas. This makes it so that when you move over the circle with your mouse, it lights up so that it like indicates that you're on the circle. Then I have mouse pressed, which plays each of the sound effect when you're in the area of the circle and you press the mouse. And then this is just the circle class that I use to create all of the circles. And the challenges that I had with this project was that I was new to using P5, so I had to obviously learn how to use it. And I originally started with a much broader idea, which made the project a lot more complicated and a lot like less like simplified than I wanted, which made for like a much worse experience. So I had to simplify my idea and just scale it back and make it more like just simple for the user to use. And that's it. If anyone has any questions.
I'll kick it off maybe. Is there, you said there's a hover for the circles, like to indicate that we can click on them?
Yeah, so it's
Oh, it's a
gray,
white.
and then it turns white.
Okay. It just seemed, at first it was subtle, I guess, where I didn't really grasp it. I don't know, so maybe it could be a little bit more of a better, like a more of a contrast.
So when you were talking about like color, like the backgrounds and like all that sort of stuff, like what were you kind of more in depth like thinking for that sort of stuff?
I was thinking of something that would relate like specifically to the sound effect. Like so for the audience laughing sound effect, I would want to have like an audience as the background. And then for like the police sirens, like have a police car or like police in the background, something like that. So like ties into the whole experience.
Did you mention like having icons on the circles?
Yeah, I wanted to create icons.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool. Mhm.
I just didn't have time to get to that part yet.
When you were first showing like the demo of like the sounds, I heard that some of them were overlapping. So like
Yeah.
when you do the whole background changes with the sounds, would you figure out a way to like cut them from like overlapping when you switch? Because then which scene would we see?
I would probably have it set up so that the scene would always change based on the last button that's pressed, even if the sounds are overlapping.
Sounds good.
I guess like one more thing as well, like what happens if you just like spam click one of the buttons?
I will just keep like replaying the sound over and over again. So it can be very irritating as some people in my house have become very annoyed by it already.
We can avoid that if you want. It's kind of,
I like it being like that. I like
yeah,
how
I figured it's like
annoying it can be.
either way, right? The one thought I had in terms of the background is like, I also think it might be interesting to just see what would happen to draw these relating images for each sound as a background, but instead of calling it with background, calling it with image at 00, and applying, like putting it over top of everything with a transparency, just to see what would happen in terms of like, you play the song or the sound, it's only going to be there for a certain period of time. After that, then what happens? Or like playing through overlaying, I think could be interesting because the soundboard itself is obviously most importantly based on these sounds. So as soon as you hit that button, it would kind of bring like that content to the front, to the like, you know, in your face, so to speak. But I don't know how it would play out. So it's just a thought. Like you could always put it in the back afterwards.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else have anything else to wrap up with here? Was the intention to have it be random, or like, because you definitely have a lot of different sounds, and it's almost enough to where it's a little tricky to memorize like which sound is from which button. So I'm kind of curious, like, was the intention to be random, or like what was the overall precedent, I guess, for interaction?
For the initial idea, I had a certain set of sounds that I wanted to use, and then I wanted to expand on that and include more sounds that just created a more diverse like set of sounds that you could use. So I have like human sounds, like different like computer sounds. There's an explosion in there, like different types of sounds like that to just create like a very diverse set.
Yeah, and you did mention you might want to end up putting like a overlay or something to indicate what, you know, if we have that, I guess we would remember more. But
yeah,
my other initial thought too was it would change the overall way the user interacts. But I think it would be interesting also to see if there were like less buttons and it were like an array. So each one's like a category, you know, like human, and then there would be human sounds. And obviously that's not something like you can do at this point. I'm just thinking through like, you know, how the structure is set up and different thoughts through that process. But yeah, I'm interested to see like how these like image components are gonna, you know, bring out the project itself a little bit more. Cool.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir. And we don't have, one second. Yeah, I was calling John. I'm like, John, who the heck is John? He prefers GIF, so I forgot. Okay, then we have Alyssa next.
Hi. Okay, so I'll share my screen. Okay. Okay, is that working? Okay. So first, my project is kind of relating to my first one that I did about like the old decades, like the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. And this one I'm like taking the same idea basically. Like I wanted to add just like elements of like history throughout the years too. So it was like easy and like fun to learn about what actually happened through these decades. So I guess I'll play it for you because it'll make more sense. So this, if it'll load. Okay, so this is the first scene. Then we click on the disco ball to go to the second one. So then each of these has a different audio component. And so I'll play one of them, but they're kind of long, so I don't want to play all of them. They start with one of the songs from each of these artists, and then they go through and there's like 2 or 3 clips in each of them about just different historical aspects that happen. So I'll play this one for a little. And these aren't finished yet. I do have to like do a little bit more, so it's a little bit more interactive. But each of them will have like more images on the screen, kind of like tying into like the historical aspects, so that way there's like an image to go with the sound.
Our entire focus should
And
be
then, yeah, so it switches into
on the great
this,
issues
and
of
there's a
peace,
little bit
wealth,
more,
and
but
prosperity with
yeah, and then you go back, and it's just like that for each of them. And then I guess I'll go through the code. It's pretty straightforward. Like it's not very complicated at all. But we have this stuff. This is just setting up the scenes. And then if we go down, this is just like if you press the mouse, you switch scenes for each one. And then we have the music playing. That's what these are. And then the music stops in this little section of the code. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
I really like the colors and like just like the whole concept of like being able to go and play like a vinyl on like a digital area. Um, like having like the vinyl kind of like makes it feel like you should be able to, I feel like you should be able to like interact with the vinyl almost and like change how like the sound is coming back.
Yeah, I was thinking I might do something like because right now the audio is all just like one file, so I might end up like splitting it up, and then yeah, that's a good idea. It's like click on certain spots of it to like have a different audio in each one.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah,
Or
thank
like I was thinking like something like, I mean, of course you don't have to, but like you can move the mouse on it and maybe like slow it down a little bit. Like when you hover your mouse over it, maybe it slows it down a little bit because you're like putting your hand on it or something. I don't know.
Yeah, like so it's like an actual like record player. That'd be cool. Thank you.
I don't know, like if it was just me. Like, could you go back to the first home page of your thing? Like, like when you hover it over the disco ball, it's like hard to identify that that's like where you're supposed to click to get to the next scene. So like, how does the next person know how to get to the next scene? Because it doesn't like expand or anything for us to like know like that's the area.
Yeah, I guess that's definitely something I can like look into, so that way like it's like obvious that you're supposed to click that and then it'll play. Yeah, I'll definitely like look into that so it's a little bit more obvious.
I mean, like going off of that as well, like just like adding like buttons or like embossers or something like that underneath these albums as well to show like you can click here or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll definitely like add more stuff into it just because it is like a little bit plain right now, and it like isn't like it needs to be a little bit more obvious of where to click. So I'll definitely finish that after.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think for these, a simple solution could be just to draw a stroke rectangle over the records rather than like dealing with more image content. It could be faster.
Okay.
Yeah, just like polishing stuff, I guess. Everything seems to be pretty nice. Yeah, things like the title on the first screen, right? It's a little hard to read because there's also white in the background.
Yeah.
So stuff like that. I mean, if you brought things into Photoshop, could always add things. Even here, instead of like the plain background, like have a backsplash of some sort.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't start a timer. What else do you guys think?
Did you when you click on the decade, the sound bite, is it like a bunch of things from that one decade, or is it just the song?
It's a bunch of things. So I can like
Okay.
yeah. So if you click on this, I don't know if there's like a way to like speed it. I think there is like a slider so you can speed it up so you don't have to listen to the whole thing. Which I'll probably look into that. But yeah, so each of them has like the song, and then it has like 2 or 3 like I took a lot of like news announcements and stuff, like broadcasts, and put that into the audio too.
I was gonna say, because like that reminds me of like when I went to a museum and they have like sections of like different parts of like time, and like you put your like ear in it and they like talk about it. So that was gonna say that like it's a really cool idea.
Yeah,
for,
thank
like,
you.
educational, yeah.
Thank you.
Like another cool thing that like sort of based off like the whole like each decade being like unique, like maybe like you could get like a little preview when you hover over each like decade, like a little like maybe 5 seconds of like a preview of the songs
Yeah.
that.
That's cool. Yeah. Yeah, I'll definitely think about that.
There is no think.
I will do it.
No, not that you have to do all this stuff. I've been on a Star Wars binge lately. What else do you do when you're sitting around, right? Yeah, this is pretty sweet. The one thing I will say that a lot of people often fall into a trap with, in terms of, I don't know why it is, but it's always seeming to relate to like audio projects where you represent other audio content. You end up like students end up spending a lot of time on one album, and then like, oh yeah, I want to build it up like this, and they spend all this time trying to figure out components to build up this thing and whatever, and then they run out of time and then can't finish the other blocks. So I would recommend getting all the bases done and then going through and doing polishing things.
Okay.
Because then it ends up being, I guess, more of a, I don't know, when there's things that don't work, people end up like fixating on those things more than like the pleasantries, for, how we are, I guess, as humans. So cool.
Okay, thank you.
Everybody air clap. I should have all got air horns. That would have been
Could use a soundboard.
See that? We're thinking.
There is an air horn on there.
Nice. Okay. We got 3 more. Got Joey, Demaya, and Tristan. So Joey is up. And he is not here as well. Killing it. All right. Well, we can only do what we can do. Speaking of, I keep dreading today because, as a segue here, my housemate that I live with, technically he owns this house, right? I'm staying with him to help him, and therefore I'm not paying any rent, so that's a nice perk. Anyway, that's the backstory. That's about all you really need. Anyway, he's not super savvy and like doesn't follow the news. I don't know, doesn't think things through all the time, blah, blah, blah. Like foresight. Anyway, I don't need to bash him or anything. We're good friends. But the one downer is that, everybody's being isolated, and he's been working a ton on the house next door that he also bought. So he decided that he did all his work and needs a break. He went to a friend's house for a party, and apparently there was only 8 people or 9 people there. But to me, 9 random people that don't care about showing up to party, how many random people do those people hang out with? So I feel like I have to do the logical thing and isolate, like semi-self-isolate in my own house now, or his house, but my house. So that's today, because incubation period is 2 to 14 days. So kind of like from now up through almost till Christmas. I don't know how the extent of it, but I'm going to clearly say at least a week, probably like 10 days. And he agreed before he even went to get tested. So I got that going for me. And like a week from now. So it should be interesting. I'm sure there's been a few of you who are in a similar Has anybody had a similar experience yet, where somebody you live with has had COVID? How was that experience? Was it difficult to like
I ended
share
up
bathroom and stuff, or what's that?
I ended up getting it myself.
Right.
That was good.
Did you live with other people then?
Yeah, I live in a house with like 13 girls, and like 2 of them got it, and then went through the entire house, and we all got it.
Everybody got it.
Yeah, even when I walked around with like double masks, I Lysoled everything, like nothing worked.
Sweet.
Yeah, but I have hopes for you. You'll be fine.
Well, I do plan on taking some precautions as well. I'm hoping he will use the now fully renovated bathroom next door. We'll see how he takes that. I plan on closing my heater duct off and using my own heater. And I have brand new HEPA air filters in my air purifier.
Very nice.
Somewhat like overkill, like like a worry wart kind of thing, but also like, I don't want that shit. How do I know he has it? I don't know. I know I don't have it. I got tested and I haven't hung out with anybody.
If you want any hope, my friend, she had it, and like 3 of her roommates had it, but the one never got it. So there's always hope. There's always that one.
Or she did, but didn't show any symptoms.
No, she got tested.
Oh.
3 times she got tested, and she never got
Oh.
it. Yeah, it's pretty.
3 times.
Yeah, she was an experienced one.
There we go. Now we're
Yeah.
talking. Emma's just like, you fuckers.
Yeah, apparently my dentist has it, so now I have to get tested because I went to the dentist last week. So
What a guy.
very, very upset.
Guy. I didn't mean to default there, but
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who had it in the office. They can't tell me, but someone apparently has it. So.
Well, I don't know if I'm more hopeful or not now, but you know.
I mean, my roommate got sick like 5 days ago. I don't know if it was corona. He just locked himself in his room for like 5 days straight. I haven't seen him, and then went back home. So I feel fine though. So I mean, if that's any hope.
Yeah. I could kind of almost go home at any time, but I don't know. It's just like hard to pick up and move everything and also keep up with finishing the semester and so forth. And once you just pick up and move, like, I don't know, it's just jarring, right? So probably going to be fine. Just, I guess, talking about the whole experience of the whole isolation thing, or not really isolation. I'm already isolated, but the whole like quarantine, got to make sure you're doing all this crap. Yeah. Anywho. Well, now we only have 2 people left, and we have technically an hour, but you guys aren't taking this class to hear my shit, so we can continue. We have Demaya next.
Yeah, that was funny. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen.
I am pretty funny to laugh at.
Okay, can you guys see the screen?
Yeah, there it is. Okay.
So for my project, I just wanted to kind of mirror a riddle escape room of a sort. So there's like 3 sets of riddles that allows the player to choose only one correct escape exit. And if the correct one is chosen, the correct ding will sound in play, and they will be able to advance to the next riddle. And if the wrong one is chosen, then a wrong buzzer will sound, and they will just simply try again. I constructed my format into scenes, and there's a total of 9 scenes that the player could come across depending on what escape route they choose. So in my setup, I made it so there's background music that plays throughout the whole game. I don't know if you can hear it, but
that's just an example of it. If you guys can hear it right now, I unmuted it. It's kind of just like a daunting, eerie kind of sound. Okay, so in the draw function, and this is scene 0, which is just the opening scene, I just placed randomized rectangles there just for like aesthetic purposes. I just liked it that every time the mouse moves, it changes from gray to white and etc. So that's being fulfilled in the mouse move function. But primarily focusing on the scene, it's just an image that was preloaded, and if it comes into contact with the play area right here, then the background image would change to give it the illusion that it's a play button. So this is kind of like the same thing that's being fulfilled in the if and if else statements, and that's correlated with the mouse's location on the canvas. And this is the structure that I follow for the rest of the scenes when it comes to choices. And as for the mouse pressed function, once the mouse comes in contact with the desired area of text and the player clicks, then it will take the player to the next scene, and then, yeah, this is it. So this would be followed depending on what choice you make. I just have the riddle up here, and whatever choice you would make, you would just choose the text or what door. So I'm just gonna do this one real quick. The answer to this would be door number 3, but if you were to choose door number 1 or 2, let me see if I can move this real quick. Then this would show, and you would hear the wrong. And you can just hover over here again and come back to the same scene. So this, you would choose this, and it would be correct, an explanation for the right answer, and you can click next and go to the next scene. So I guess the most challenging part for formatting this code was creating the multiple rollover functions, because I made the mistake of not commenting and not placing the brackets where they needed to be. So if, like, for example, like a scene like this, if it had multiple rollover options, I had to format multiple if and else statements, and they would just get jumbled up together and the code wouldn't work when I ran it. So if I didn't end a function with the correct number of brackets, that would happen, and the mouse press function would be ending up in the draw function, and I didn't even know like why. So yeah, I knew that commenting like what was happening as it was happening would help me a lot. I thought that copying and pasting would work, but that was like the main issue, so I just resorted to typing out every if and else statement here. So I mean, I guess changes or things I want to go forth from now. I want to finalize the background music. I want to make it lower in certain parts because it does get higher, and I don't know if it would be peaking or not, but it gets higher towards the end as it keeps looping. And I wanted to make it lower in that area. I wanted to also add more riddles because there's only 3, and I just wanted to make it lengthier for the game. And the transitions in between scenes, even though it just goes from image to image, I wanted to see if I can probably like make some sort of transition or like more visual interaction, since these are just images. But I haven't thought that much into depth with that kind of thing. So, but yeah, that's basically it for now. This is a finished game. If you do just end up clicking the right answers, that's how it ends. So yeah, that's it for now.
I really like this concept of like an escape room, like riddle type thing. I think that's super fun. And I like the way you have like the doors and everything. So each door is a different like riddle scenario, right?
Yeah, basically each scene is a different riddle scenario. So let me just load it again, sorry. Well, let me explain it first. But like if you played it, the riddle would be up here. So it's just like the image, this whole thing is an image, and this is part of the image, the text is part of the image. So you would just read it, and whatever option you would want, you would just click if you think that's the right answer. If it's not, then you can just try again. So if there's multiple wrong answers, but only one right answer. And whenever you do click the right answer, you just go to the next one. So this is wrong, but this is correct. And this will just take you to the next riddle, per se.
I see. So it like takes you through like a few different scenarios.
Basically, yeah.
Okay, that's cool. I like it.
I'd say like it looks a lot like a very polished with this so far. But maybe like expanding the range of clicking. So like going back to the second room in particular is where it like really caught me with the 5 doors, like because you can really only click on the words that say door 1, door 2, right?
You can click on try again. The only things you can click on is play, door 1, door 2, door 3, or try again and next.
But like for that, like
go ahead,
like
sorry.
maybe expand like the area to click in, so you don't have to just click on the words, like the entire like area of the door would be clickable.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, my mom actually she made that mistake because when I was showing her, she clicked on the door thinking the whole door would lead you to the right answer. But yeah,
right.
I would have to take that into consideration. Yeah.
I'm not sure if I missed it or not. Do you have anything like moving?
Just the beginning.
Right.
Not necessarily move. Yeah, just this. I was just like, oh, that would be cool. But I didn't really know. I wanted to incorporate that. I just didn't know how it would fit in this kind of game.
I also think that it could be interesting to play around with this a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Like have these shapes, maybe they're moving around, maybe there's like a transparency on them, so like as they're moving they're kind of writing over, you know, what you're reading, kind of like you need to escape them, because then when you hover over the play everything clears anyway.
Yeah.
So I think it might be a little bit more of a room for you to, you know, maybe learn some things about just playing around with numbers and activating components.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's always ways to, you know, like if it's drawing over everything and you're like, well, it's like it makes the play like unreadable or something, right? Like there's always that possibility where you might not know what to do because it's so fastly covering up stuff or something.
Right.
It's doubtful, but you could always then put copy the play. Is that text or is that an image?
It's an image. They're all images. Yeah.
Right. So you could put an image overlay as like very light outline or whatever with an opacity over all the shapes. So no matter what the shapes do anyway, like you might see a rough outline of the play anyway over top of everything.
Okay.
Just a thought. And then can you go through a few scenes?
Yeah. So.
Because like, yeah, here you can't quite tell like the scaling of everything, but if you go through to like the progression door 3, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you go to door 3 and you go to next, there is a scene right here. It's kind of like a miniature set looking scene. You know what I mean? Because like that block of wood at the bottom.
Oh, okay.
So I almost imagine like I don't know why, it doesn't have to be, obviously. I think of like a moving, like a toy car going across the
I can see exactly. Yeah.
I don't know.
Makes sense.
I don't know why. Or maybe it's just something that like is larger in scale, that it's, I don't know. It's just like, I think taking cues from the individual environments could be interesting. Because you could just set up just an image to like just move across and maybe play a noise as it's doing it. And that would be very simple to do.
Yeah, I wanted to play around with like, because I know it's just like an image, and I wanted like, you know, something visual to be happening, not just staring at an image. So that would be definitely a good idea.
Yeah. So yeah, like if anybody else also needs to stay after class for a few minutes, I could just cover that kind of stuff. Cool. Any last comments here?
I think it's a pretty dope like theme that you did. It's different. Like it was a different approach to what I thought someone like would have done for this type of project.
Thanks.
I think it's too late to back out now, but I guess my other thought too is you label the doors on the doors. Yeah, like door
Yeah.
door 3. It almost
Would you
seems
not recommend that?
no, it's fine. It just
Oh.
seems a little bit like it could be a little bit redundant because you already have them
Oh.
listed at the bottom.
Oh, okay. I get what you're saying.
And it's not that many doors like we could count that high, right?
Yeah. I get
So
what you're saying.
yeah, and then in that regard, like maybe you could have put like a different attribute, because like the center door is yellow. Well, why
Right.
is it yellow? Like maybe there's something about like, right? So just potentially another avenue to be adding some kind of component to the way you go through this experience.
Right.
But you could still do these things with them labeled. It was like a, I don't know, a
That
design.
makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, it just pops out at me once in a while, stuff like that.
Okay.
Awesome. Cool. Thank you. I have to be I'm mute. I'm not muted, but you got to keep up with the Benjamins, with the Joneses. One of those two. Keeping up with the Joneses. Who be last? Tristan.
Yep.
All right. You're not in your office today.
No, yeah. Earlier I was in Eisenach in Germany. All right.
Doing work.
So my project is called R Guess B. It sounded better on paper. And so it's it's an interactive project. And the inspiration behind it was we've talked a little bit about color gamuts, but on RGB monitors, you make color by using values of 255 for RG and B. So after doing some of those exercises, I like that you could give individual red, green, and blue components. So I figure it'd be cool if we could have a guessing game where the people get a random color. So you'll see a random color is generated every time on this left here. And we have a, again, not everything is labeled, but we have a shape right here that, that's going to react to ours. But basically, we're trying to guess what this target color is using these red, green, and blue. Just simple input things. I'm not the greatest at coding, so I'm mostly just making this off of, stuff that I already know how to do. So this shape will change based on the red, green, and blue values that are randomly generated. And as you change the RGB values, other properties of this shape will change. So I'm still working on getting that done, but even if you don't know exactly where to go, you can kind of match up the shapes and their rotation and such and such to get a good idea of what it should be. So afterwards, it'll give you what the target was and what your guess was. I'm also probably going to put like a how close you were to it. And then there's a reset button right here if you want to go back and do it again. Every time you do it, it's got a different color. There's also a draw thing that I'm working on, so you can draw with whatever of course, it's I just recently got this working, so not everything is perfect, but you'll be able to draw with the color that you was randomly generated, and then there's going to be a way to print your artwork. So yes, as far as my code goes, it is, define the variables, and we have some preload. I talked about this in class a bit, but I made a function to create polygons easily. It's just a bunch of math to determine the stuff. In the draw, we just have, if scene equals this, then set the background, do these things to set it up. And then for mouse press, these are all just if the mouse is in this location, which would be over where a button is, then you change scenes. And also a huge shout out to Eric for helping me with this function touch move that lets me draw when the mouse is pressed down and stop when it's done. One of the big problems I'm trying to figure out right now is the frame rate. Actually, you can start drawing on here, and if you move it really, really fast, it goes off the canvas a bit. So I might have to make some frame rate adjustment there, I've been told might solve it. But yeah, that's one thing I'm working on. And yeah. So yeah.
So yeah.
I have one quick suggestion as well. So when you're going back and like you finished your first color guess and you're like, okay, I want to do another round. Maybe like have those numbers go back to 0.
Yes, that is a known problem that I just have been not. I just haven't done it yet.
I'll get to that eventually.
Yes. Yeah, and the other thing I forgot to mention is I don't really have any sounds incorporated yet into this, but I'm planning to just do sound effects, like background music, such and such. It's not going to be a huge part of it, but that is something I do need to also incorporate.
So when you go to the first page and you click start, I think.
Yes, this is.
So, yeah, what is this page?
So this screen is the loading screen. I've temporarily just for working on it. I'm skipping over it instantly. But there will be an animation of paint buckets pouring into thing because it's like this is while this is going. If you look in the bottom left here within the console, it is randomly cycling through integers for rand red, green, and blue. So depending on how long you take on this screen, it doesn't really matter how long because they're all random. But this is the loading screen where it's picking the random values for your thing.
Oh, that's fun. I like that.
But there will be a cool animation where like paint buckets are pouring into each other, and
Yeah, like they're making your color for you.
Yes.
No, that's cute.
I really like how like interactive it is. I think the part at the end where you can like print your little artworks, like that's really cute. I like it a lot.
Yeah, and the other thing I was going to do for the artwork is maybe like a thing on the top here that says try drawing, and then it picks from a list of like, oh, a waterfall, a sunset, a blah blah blah. So you have to try and work with the color that you made or whatnot, and just white and black to try and make a cool thing.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Oh, so it uses the color that you made.
Yeah, right now it's using the one that is randomly generated, but I was looking at trying to make a thing that generates a complementary color. I had a lot of trouble implementing that correctly into P5, but I might work on that to see if that works. It would be really cool.
Yeah, so my thought is it's getting pretty late in the game and you sound like you have a lot of ambitions, but I'd probably, forego a few of them.
Yeah, I'm just shooting around ideas.
Oh yeah, totally.
Realistically, like even these, yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's really focusing down on like what do you need to complete this, and for it to be like a cohesive experience. I think like adding the color to the moving object would be a good one.
Well,
Yeah.
the one that you're making, the color won't update as you change the values because you're doing it blindly.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you go back to that scene?
Yes. Yes, I can.
Yeah, I think you might just want to throw some text above the color.
Yeah.
Guess this color or.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the stuff that I've foregone is not really complicated, labeling, that sort of stuff. The only thing that I'm like working on with extreme trouble right now is getting a print where it can print just that what you've drawn on the canvas, and getting these like to update depending on where your values are. But I mean, other than that,
print what?
Print what you've drawn on the canvas. Because
I have that figured out as well if you want to meet afterwards to talk about that.
Talking about like saving it?
Yeah, well, because there's built-in, like if you there's a simple print
Yeah.
line that'll just print the web page, or it'll print whatever's on the canvas, like the whole canvas, but the drawing canvas that I have
I see.
is what I only want to print. But I mean, Eric the Wizard is going to help me out, so I'll have to attribute him again.
You have to give me a wand and a hat, and then I'll assume my role perfectly.
Yeah.
So can you go to submit real quick again?
Yes. Oh, yeah, that's a little bit. Hold on. I didn't draw it out all the way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then if you go to draw from here, so what are I might have spaced out on this. What are the colors on the left? Are they always the same, or?
No, well, the white and the black are. That's just standard white black. But this one is the randomly generated color that you were supposed to try and guess, and I didn't put it as the color. I have the variable and everything. I just didn't put it in there yet.
The variable for what?
For selecting the RGB of the
yeah
thing. Yeah.
I almost think so, like I think Liv said it, like having the color you chose here, it's not a huge difference, I guess. Like, what does it really matter? But I think getting the because if you're not having that color attributing to the spinning one, can you go back through again to that? So you go to where you're spinning the objects.
Mm-hmm.
And then hit submit.
Yeah.
So they move, right? Like they're not the same object in the same place. And I think that's a little bit confusing to me. What do you guys think? Like you have the starting one you're supposed to guess, right? On the left, the color.
Yes. Yeah, I just didn't label them the target in your guess.
No, right. But then on the right-hand side, you have a white one. And my thought process is when I'm going to submit, I'm going to then just see that shape as it is.
Oh,
color applied to it.
Okay.
Otherwise, why is that shape there,
Yeah, I could do that pretty easily.
Yeah, because then it's like...
Yeah, I mean, this is just like a separate scene. I could just incorporate all this stuff into there.
Yeah, because it's almost like you're continuing to draw the same exact shape.
Mm-hmm.
If you did that, there wouldn't even be a glitch in the turning, right? It's like, it just literally continues. You just change the color.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would, because when you did it the first time, I'm like, I feel like there's a disconnect, but I didn't grasp it.
Yeah. That makes sense. That would make it a lot smoother.
Yeah, and then I really think that it could be a little bit of build out, but I think something to do with that, like how close is your guess result?
Mhm.
I think that has a lot of potential. Like how to, like, yeah, how close you are, but then like, is there something really simple that you could use that number for? You know, like as like, oh, you won this prize and now you can use it for something. I don't know.
I did not think about that. No.
No, I know, but I'm just thinking like, all right, well, we go through this process, we get this,
Yeah.
and
I mean, I mean, I was thinking that this would be enough like interactivity, but I mean, I could add something else like that. I don't know.
I'm just spitting here. Like, it seems
Yeah.
like it was a pretty good, out of all the different things you talked about, it seems like that one is the most, to me, it seems like the most cohesive to the overall project, um, over those other kinds of things like um, printing it to save.
Yeah.
Those are nice to have, but does it really further the interaction of the project? Yes and no. I mean, you could always take a screenshot, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know, just like putting out thoughts. It seems like a pretty interesting ploy, I guess. Anyway, I rambled quite a bit. Anybody else have any last blurbs? Some blurbage?
Would there be a way for like the color that I guess to be used in the canvas, and like the jaw?
Yes. So, yeah, that will be changed to what your thing was rather than the target. I just put this one down here to see if it would work, just so it gets selected. But yes, I am planning to make it so it's the color that you made, not the one that's the target. Although I could just like add all so you could use the target.
And like just to like sort of like piggyback of what Bernard was saying, maybe like when you guess it correctly, you can maybe unlock like a bigger palette of different colors to use, so you have more options when you're on this page.
That would certainly be an undertaking, yeah. Yeah, I've thought about like making it like more of a palette. I wanted to keep it like simple. It's just, oh, here's the color that you made. Now you can like use it. But you know, of course you need like a white for like an eraser, but yeah, I mean, I'm not expecting anybody to like get 100% like down to like the ones on all of them.
I will.
But so it would be like more it would be more like an Easter egg. But yeah, that's a good idea.
No, and to piggyback off that, it would be really hard to do that because when you surround a color with other colors intuitively, even if you're like, you know, a genius at RGB values and your monitor's calibrated, you know, immaculately, you're probably still going to get thrown off just by the surrounding color, just by the way our mind like computes color. So more luck than skill, perhaps.
Yeah.
When it comes down to precision.
Of course, you'll get it first try though.
Well, intuitively.
I'll write a script to recognize that it's you. I'll look at your IP address.
Yeah. Put me off onto the final boss right off the go. Well, dudes, yeah, I think that's a pretty good first day. What was I? Oh, the only thing that I didn't talk about, I talked about to the first class. When you do submit these projects, I'm going to try to remember to say this again on Wednesday. I do also want you to be, well, I guess more, I have the edit link right at this point, unless you change the link, like if you duplicate it and save it or whatever. Oh yeah, and keep that in mind. Like if you're one to be duplicating and resaving, that the link's also going to change. So keep that in mind. when you do submit, I want you guys to be taking all of your final code, pasting it in a text file, and putting that in a folder, and then also putting in an assets folder, into this like project master folder. So I'll have all of your assets and I'll have all of your code, so that if anything goes wrong, even yourself down the road, what happens if they stop hosting this site or your account gets messed up or whatever? Just to have that redundancy, I suppose, and submit that when you submit your project, essentially. And so when you do submit your project, I think on the project page right now, it says like you also have to have an about text file, but if you're including everything you're supposed to in the header, you don't need the about text file. Traditionally, like people have about files. What was I gonna say? I've been doing that a few times today. Ramble off. I think what I'm doing is like watching myself talk and then getting distracted. Anywho, submitting and what kind
Okay,
of
so
files? Oh,
if there's like the source file for like the library and the index.html, like how do you want me to include that in the folder?
Oh, that's why I said just put it in the comments at the top about like how you were embedding it. And then probably just I don't know, maybe
I could just write like
just make a separate text file and just call that like library to include or whatever.
Okay.
And you in there you say put this in the index, and then you put the code there or whatever. I don't know, kind of just some backfall. Yeah, that's a good question though. Oh, so the last thing about this is bringing this up now because like a lot of people have just been uploading things aimlessly and like not really retaining necessarily all your files all in one spot. So this is like a time to recoup everything. When you do go to type out all your code, all your header content, make sure you're also putting in there the edit link, which is kind of redundant. But then if you simply are, submitting this to the Google Drive, and I download that and I have that, I always have access to that link right there. And from that link, we could also access the full screen link. So yeah, besides that, the only thing I want to remind you guys is to please sign up for the Coding with Donuts. Get that extra credit. It's like repeating a few minutes of the same thing you already did. And hopefully it'll be much cooler project. It'll be at a much cooler stage completion, so we could talk about things more in depth. And hopefully a few people invite friends or family or whatever to check out what's going on, and maybe some faculty or other students will check in and get some more like outside dialogue. But plus other students from other class will be there, so you guys will have that kind of back and forth that you might not have had. And I guess the last thing I'll say today, because I don't know if I've said it, because I am recording for today and on Wednesday, you guys could just go scrub through, find your presentation and be like, oh yeah, I didn't really give much of an introduction, or I spent way too long on talking about code, or kind of reflect on that, so that when we meet together, because you got to think like we're going to be talking about this to other people that talk or that have been doing code, but then potentially there might be people that haven't really been in this, so you can kind of think more broadly to like how this might apply to a varying audience. Just depends on who shows up, I suppose, but Anywho, cool. Thanks, guys.
Oh, sorry. I actually had a quick question about the rubric.
Okay.
One of the components says ability to perform to problem solve to completion. So does that just mean like variables and like things like that?
That really is just like taking your original proposal and building it out to a complete project. I know some people have changed their proposal. So in that regard, it's kind of just like, have you built out what you were aiming to do in the beginning? It's kind of sort of like that freebie section, obviously, because if you're submitting a finished project, like it's finished code, like 5 points if you write your name, kind of like that. It's really just, like if you said you're going to go through and make these different, I'm going to make 4 scenes and each scene's going to have these different effects, and then you finish and you only have 2 scenes, and it's kind of like you drop down and you cut stuff out. So it's kind of just like, did you kind of complete the process of going through and taking those steps of like figuring out problems that you had to overcome, kind of thing.
Thank you.
Oh yeah. Was somebody wanting to stay around for a few minutes?
Real quick, I was gonna mention just on the behalf of Calvin, because he's in his architecture review right now. His professors are dragging on. He gave you original time of 5, and his professors then gave him an updated time of 5:30. And honestly, I don't know what they're doing at this point. So
for Wednesday, you mean?
No, for today, because Calvin didn't show up today, despite giving you a heads up that he was going to show up an hour late. But his review is dragging on, so he ended up just not showing.
I got you. Yeah, thank you. I didn't even have his name down for today because it's on Wednesday, so I forgot. Yeah, I took attendance, but yeah, thanks for reminding me, because I can put that down.
Yeah.
Are you having office hours this week on Wednesday?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Because I'm just figuring something out. I think I can figure it out by myself. I think I'm close to figuring it out, but just in case I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want problems right now.
Sorry.
No, if you wanna go over it, we can do that.
I have to go get tested for COVID, but I might come on Wednesday if I can figure it. Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
Tristan, if you want to stick around as well, I could probably show you that print.
You guys want me to throw you in a room real quick?
Why not?
All right. I'll just stop this recording.